Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Coach Angie and Dr. Akmal. We are coming to you today to discuss women's emotions and health. We've had a long day today, but we're still going to bring you what we know and converse and hopefully get some of your questions answered just via him speaking to you. So it's been a minute, but Dr. Akmal, of course, over 40 years of experience in women's health and all kinds of health and acupuncture and all of the things, y'all. He's a wealth of knowledge, and he is coming to you today again to speak about women's emotions and health. Welcome, Dr. Akmal.
Thank you, Coach Angie, and thank you for the people who are tuning in because they could be actually doing something else to somebody else, and they decided that we were important. So I thank them for showing up.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Earlier today we talked about the five treasures. Well, this evening we're going to talk about five emotions. From a traditional Chinese perspective, they say that all disease comes from the seven evils. And when they say the seven evils, they talk about the seven emotions. And so because of that, each emotion has its relationship with a set of organs. For instance, we're going to start out with the kidneys because this is the kidney season. We're getting ready to go into the liver season. So the kidneys have to do with the water element, which has to do with fertility, basically. The liver is the wood element, which has to do with the spring. And then the earth element has to do with the late elements of each season. Like right now, we're in the water season of the kidneys, but the balance of that has to also do with now we are also in the earth element. So now it's a grounding kind of period. And so then in fall, we go into the factor of the metal season, which has to do with the lungs, the large intestines. And then we go right back to the water season, which is the kidney and the bladder. So when we start to talk about that, we talk about, like I said, I talk about the factor of it having elements of emotions tied to it. Unlike in Western medicine, you have fear, which we got a lot of that now. But you have fear, and it's all by itself. That to them it don't mean nothing. Well, in Chinese medicine, fear is a major element of the kidneys. The kidneys now are very powerful because of the fact that kidneys have to do, and you've probably heard me say this before, kidneys have to do with conception, gestation, pregnancy, delivery, maturity, aging, and death. It also has to do with our stem cells and our DNA and our bone marrow. And so because of that, when we start to deal with fear, that actually attacks our DNA. Okay? And the kidneys also represent kindness and willpower. So if you wind up having fear, that means that you've actually disconnected yourself from your ancestors being able to assist you through this time. It also has to do with the fact that you can't find your willpower because it's there. We all have willpower, but it's not there. Fear has the tendency to turn into depression, which has to do with spring and the liver. So going back to the kidneys, so the kidneys have to deal with our genetics,
Mm-hmm.
and it has to do with the bones, the bone marrow, and the brain marrow. So that means that it has to do with our our ability for the mind to maintain its balance. Alzheimer's, dementia, short-term memory is its key. So we want to be able to deal with the fact of how do we deal with that water element. Okay. So I'm gonna put that on the side for a moment. We're gonna come back to it. Next, you have the wood season. The wood season is the season of the liver and the gallbladder. Excuse me. And its emotions are depression, frustration, jealousy, hatred, suppression, and its responsibility is to make sure that your body and your mind run smoothly
Mm-hmm.
so that you can maintain the balance and the integrity of the detoxification of the body. Because the liver is the largest detoxifying organ within the body,
Mm-hmm.
where the skin, or the integumentary system, as it's also called, is the largest detoxifying organ on the outside of the body. So the liver has to deal with the free flow of nutrients because of the fact that it extracts the nutrients from the waste. Okay, as it detoxifies, it does a process called cytochrome P450, and we'll talk about that maybe next time we come together, because we're moving closer to spring. So so that happens in terms of the body being able to maintain its stability. When the mind is in chaos, we are unable to maintain balance and stability.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have a lot of people who have psychological drugs that they're taking, okay, because they can't find that balance. As we talked about earlier today, balance is that major piece. You can't do
Yeah.
nothing without balance.
And we call that harmony, right? Your body
Right,
being in harmony.
right, absolutely. And so from there, it kind of moves on to the heart. And this month is the heart season. And more
Mm-hmm.
women than men have heart attacks. Okay. And some of that has to do with the way that the blood circulates, and the liver has to do with the heart. But the emotions of the heart have to do with joy
Mm-hmm.
and impatience.
Mm.
Okay. What that does is the heart has to deal with the fact of how the blood is circulated through the body, which could be part of women having anemia, okay, amenorrhea, which is menstruating, not menstruating. That's what amenorrhea means, and other kinds of issues, like coldness,
Mm-hmm.
B12 deficiencies, that kind of thing. I'm gonna put that to the side. We can get back to that in a minute. I kind of want to lay out the emotions and then go back and talk about some of the health issues that it could have.
Mm-hmm.
The 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 heart also houses the mind and the spirit. Okay, so the mind, not the thoughts, the mind, okay, is balanced by what happens with the heart. Sometimes people say, well, you're taking stuff to heart. And so when we talk about taking stuff to heart, we are actually talking about the way that we interact with each other and the things that are said. I talked earlier today about the tongue and how the tongue could be vicious, you know,
Mm-hmm.
with people. And so the piece of that is that that's a heart issue. Then we move into the factor of the earth element. Earth has to do with grounding. That has to do with the spleen, the stomach, and the pancreas. So if you have diabetes, that means that there's no your grounding is not happening. You're not grounding because that's an earth piece. And so with that, it has to do with the factor of thoughts. That's where your thoughts are. So if you have, for instance, insomnia, and your mind go, that's a issue that can happen with your spleen and your stomach. Okay, and this and the spleen has to do with the fact of how the food is kind of broken down so that the small intestines can absorb the nutrients. If the spleen is not able to do that, then what happens is that the nutrients now are not broken down, and they're not broken down into a manner of where you can be able to absorb the nutrients from them. Which the spleen also has to maintain the balance
Mm-hmm.
of how we create balance within ourselves. And then you have the emotions of the spleen and the stomach is anxiety, and we got a lot of anxiety going on now.
Yes, we do.
you
Yes, we
know
do.
I mean, we got a whole lot of anxiety going on, as well as worry, which is another one we have going on. So when we get those emotions like that, we got to figure out how to make a balance happen. And then the metal element are the lungs and the large intestines. And the lungs and the large intestines, their emotion is sadness and grief.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, and that has to do with how we separate and create relationships. Okay. That's sadness comes and grief comes. We lose a loved one, or we lose a good friend. They pass on, or they or with with parents. Well, my child's going off to college. I'm sad because of the fact that. And so the metal has to do with the fact of how you build that foundation. And it also has to deal with the fact of how the metal nutrients are absorbed into your body,
Mm.
like iron.
Yeah.
Okay, iron is one of the most difficult elements for the body to be able to receive.
Mm-hmm. So, how do we effectively receive iron in our body
So
so that it absorbs?
so the way that Western medicine deals with it is they deal with it from the standpoint of ferrous sulfate. Ferrous sulfate is inorganic iron, basically, and that's what turns the bowels black and causes constipation. In terms of natural medicine, chlorophyll, liquid chlorophyll, okay, works very well to aid the body in accepting iron succinate, which is iron that has to do with how it really gets into the or gluconate. Those two get right into the cells because of the fact that you're talking about the blood cell has sugar, so that sweetness is there with it. When you take iron, you should also, especially if you're taking ferrous sulfate, you should always take vitamin C because
So that's the inorganic iron.
uh
You're saying if you take the inorganic iron, you
right
should
if
take
you take
vitamin C. But
right
what if you take the Floridix that I
okay, and
take?
I was
Can
getting
you
ready to
mix
get
that with
to
can
I
you
was
mix that with chlorophyll?
I was getting ready to get to that. So
Okay.
when you do it from an organic side of the table, you take the chlorophyll and you can take Floridex. Well, Floridex has iron and it's ferro gluconate, and what it does is it now has the vitamin C to get into your system, so it goes right into the erythrocyte, which is the red blood cell, so that you don't have this constipation issue. The other piece of getting iron is through eating green vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Your greens, collard greens, kale, arugula, those kinds of foods help you to build iron, okay, in your body. If you're a vegan, and nowadays, more than ever, we have more people who are vegans. And looking at the fact of the way the food is being cultivated now, you know, almost everybody on the planet should be a vegan. Although some of the vegetables that we're getting, they got some issues too. But at any rate, if you're vegan, you should make sure that you're getting enough iron, okay, and you're getting enough organic iron in order to sustain yourself. Now, the other way to do that is take B12. Now, B12, there's two ways that you can take B12 in order for it to get into the system, because B12 has an interstitial factor, and it and the stomach, they play this game, and so the stomach don't allow for it to get in the manner it should. So you should take it sublingual. Sublingual means that you put it under your tongue and let it dissolve into the mucous membranes of your tongue, of your mouth. That's one of the best ways to do it if you are taking it in terms of a pill. If you're going to do that, you also need to take B complex. And what I tell people is that take 200 milligrams of B complex, because the B complex assists it getting into the system, okay, and registering so that your body deals with that. And it would come up on your blood work, okay, in regards to you having a B12 deficiency. The other way you have a B12 deficiency is you're cold a lot and you're tired. Okay, those are a couple of ways to do that. And a lot of times when women are cycling, you might want to take some B12, because of the fact that now you're losing iron.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you might want to take the B12 so that you maintain a nice level of iron, so that during that time you're not craving sweets.
Right.
Because, during women's cycling, a lot of times they have the sweet craving,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. And so when you take that, you take the B vitamins, that also assists the body in balancing the nervous system, so that the central nervous system doesn't take a hit and you go through those mood swings. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, because of the fact that now the nervous system has you jittery. If you're dealing with fear, okay, or the anxiety or depression, you may also want to take B12 and B complex. You might
So what's
want
the
to.
best time of day to take the B vitamins?
So I would say take the B vitamins early morning to midday.
Mm.
Okay. The B vitamins, you could take them, first thing in as part of your self care protocol. You can take them, in the morning. Okay, so that they help run you throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. With what's going on in our atmosphere, we need to begin to put more things in that work to help us to overcome these
Yeah.
negative influences that's happening within our life these days.
Yeah.
People worried about their job, worried about the fact that is their home going to be foreclosed on, which now that's a wood imbalance, that's a liver imbalance. Okay, because anxiety also has to deal with the liver. So things like beets and carrots, they help the liver to move through there along with the B12. And the beets are going to also help bring that blood pressure down, because of the fact that the anxiety, the fear, and the depression also can raise the blood pressure. So you also want to add things like coconut water, because of the fact that you want that potassium and that sodium to create that balance within the cell, so that the cell, the erythrocyte, which is the red blood cell, is able to nourish itself. I talked about chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is wonderful for that. Now, if you take liquid chlorophyll, there's two ways you can take that. One of them is that you can put it in a spoon and take it straight to the head. The other is that you could take a teaspoon of it and pour it in some water, and drink it that way. But that's going to also help to bring down the depression. Now, I'm not saying that if your doctor is giving you some pharmaceuticals that you should stop taking the pharmaceuticals and take this over here. That's not what I'm saying. Okay. I'm saying that if you're taking pharmaceuticals, take this in conjunction with the pharmaceuticals. Okay. And when you start to feel better, if you and your doctor decide that you need to move away from them pills that you're getting, then that's fine. Okay.
So it's okay to take pharmaceuticals with natural medicines.
Well, I can't tell people not to take pharmaceuticals because I'm not licensed in that area.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I tell people is that if you're going to do natural medicine, and the people that my patients, some of my patients do take natural and pharmaceuticals.
Mm-hmm.
What I tell them is this: first off, space them out. Okay?
Right.
Don't take pharmaceutical and then take the herbs.
Right.
Okay, space them out. Okay, then monitor how you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you decide that you want to try the natural approach, don't just stop taking medication.
Right.
Wean yourself off of it. And,
Mm-hmm.
if you have one of them doctors that you can get involved, who will get involved with you doing that, then do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that,
that's the information I want people to have, like how to space it out, what to do so that they're not compounding stuff on top of each other and feeling awful, right?
right,
Because they don't understand that they shouldn't take them together.
right.
I really do. I want to interject for a second because I think it's important um, to touch on the fact that so many people are chasing symptoms with
Mhm.
natural medicine, right? Because they don't want to be on pharmaceuticals. And they need to know that they can mess themselves up on that too, because they need to know what they should be taking. They
Mhm.
could be just fine in B12. But you
Right,
don't want to overdo it and take more B12. You need to
right,
know what you're deficient in so that you're not compounding stuff and not understanding, well, that's why I don't feel well because I'm taking all this natural stuff and I shouldn't be taking all of it,
right.
right? And it's just because people don't feel well and they're trying to find they're chasing the symptoms and trying to figure it out and doing what other people are doing. And so I just want you to kind of touch on that, on how people should be safe even with the natural
So, this is
medicine.
what I tell people. If you're going, if you're on pharmaceuticals, find you a qualified. Understand the word qualified. Okay, natural health practitioner. Okay, whether it's a homeopathic, acupuncturist, chiropractic, who can help guide you through that maze. Okay, because it's a maze.
Yeah.
You know, you stop taking. So let's say that you have hypertension. You stop taking the hypertension medication and start to take some herbs, and the next thing you know, you got crises. You know, there's a way to move from one to the other without having crises. If your girlfriend say, girl, I've been taking X, Y, and Z and I feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. Don't do that, because of the fact that her body chemistry is much different than yours.
Mm-hmm.
Find you a health practitioner and ask her, say, well, where'd you get the information? Do you got a health practitioner that I can go and see?
Mm-hmm.
Because that way, now you have guidance for your health protocol. Yeah, you can read. Listen, this day and age, when I started learning about natural medicine back in 1974, if I talked about herbs and chlorophyll and that kind of stuff, I could go to jail.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. I look what they did to Dr. Sabi.
Yeah.
They took the brother was right on time, and they took him to court. And because he was doing exactly what he was supposed to do, they couldn't do nothing to him.
Yeah.
So he wound up in Honduras.
Mm-hmm.
And I might get in problems with this, but from my standpoint of what I think, and this is my thoughts, is that they killed the brother because of the fact that he was taking away money from pharmaceuticals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's why I say get a qualified health practitioner. You see, who knows exactly what they're doing.
Right.
So that you don't find out that you're in trouble because of the fact that you stopped doing whatever. Now, going even further than that, when you start to make that transformation, there's a process that's called the healing crises. Okay. The healing crises is when it seems like it's getting worse. Okay. But it's really not what it's doing. It's going back through everything it had to go through in order to straighten itself out. That's how natural medicine works. Opposed to opposed to pacifying the body. You know?
Right.
Because that's what pharmaceuticals do. They pacify the body. That's why you wind up having some side effects. Not and the other piece is because you're putting an inorganic substance into an organic body. So the body's like, what in the hell are you doing? What is this? What am I supposed to do with this? You know, because your body's very intelligent. It's very
Absolutely.
intelligent. You know, it's us who don't have the intelligence. You see, because of the fact that the body say, I don't want that. I know that that's going to do X, Y, and Z. I don't want that. And we say, oh no, I need to take that. So find you a qualified health practitioner who can help you to navigate that, you know.
Yeah.
And
So qualified health practitioners, and I like to be just as specific as possible for our viewers, just so they know how to navigate this. Can they do a full workup? Because when you go to your your mother in the
primary,
world physician,
right,
they don't always do what you ask them to do in terms of the full blood workup.
right.
We need to know everything that's going on, and we don't get that from our physicians. So how do we get that? Can we get that from?
Well, you have some practitioners who what they do is they order different kinds of blood work for you. Then you have some who look at the blood work that you got from your primary care.
Yeah.
And look to see where things are, and they understand what that is. And then they have other diagnostics. That's like, as an acupuncturist, we'd look at your tongue, take your pulses, and palpate some points on your body. When we do that, that gives us a lot of times, and in cases of people that I've worked with over the years, that's giving me more information about the root cause of what's going on, so that we could go from there, treating it where the blood work gives us a upper hand of saying, yeah, well, this is out of balance and that's high and this is low, and that kind of thing. That kind of gives us a prognosis as well. So, I'm saying that, yeah, you can find some people. That's like hair analysis. Hair analysis is deep. And especially if you've not put no perm, or you've not put no dyes or nothing in your hair, your mineral and vitamin content is in your hair. Your hair is one of the elements of your kidneys. Your kidneys vibrate to your hair.
So is it fair to say that a person with alopecia has bad kidneys?
It could be. When I work with people with alopecia, that's one of the first places I look. I look to see what's going on with their kidneys. Okay, because of the fact that tells me something about their kidneys. Now, it doesn't have to be the kidneys.
Okay.
It could be the liver insulting the kidneys. It could be the lungs overpowering the kidneys. Okay. It could be the factor that the kidneys are weak, which could be because of the factor that either a woman, especially women, either a woman got pregnant when she was 16, 17, 18, and 19 or 20, or she comes from a family that has a lot of children. Women, the basic piece of that is that your hair should not thin like that. Okay. And it thins like that in a lot of cases because of kidneys. It doesn't have to be kidneys.
Okay.
That's why, you know, a lot of women who are probably listening, watching this will justify with me what I'm about to say. You know, so now you got pregnant and you go through the 9 months, although it's a 12-month process, but I ain't gonna get into that because that could get long-winded. But the 9 months of physical pregnancy, and they wind up losing a tooth or two.
Hmm.
Well, why do you lose a tooth? You lose a tooth because of the fact that child is pulling all the essence out of your kidneys that the kidneys are not able to support the calcium and magnesium that the teeth need. And so you lose that tooth. Okay. And that's why, later in life, a lot of times women wind up with osteoporosis because of the fact of the weakness of their kidneys. You know. So kidneys play a vital role in how we are able to really function from our mind to our bones to our DNA.
So tell us again what emotions are associated with kidneys.
So kidneys have to deal with fear, kindness, and willpower. So if you don't have any willpower, for me, the first place I'd go would be, okay, let's see what your kidney activity is like. You know, and
Mhm.
then I would give you some herbs that would help to balance that. You could take herbs like juniper berry. Okay, very good for the kidneys. I do Chinese herbs, so I would give you Yu Gui Wen and Liwu Di Huang Wen, which has to do with the right and the left kidney because of the fact that helps balance it. If you have depression, you could take things like dandelion, okay, because dandelion is real good for balancing the liver. But I would also say don't drink alcohol, okay. um Stay away from sugar because sugar is going to reduce B vitamins. And and when we go to the store and buy stuff, and especially if we buy some prepackaged goods, the prepackaged goods got a whole bunch of sugar and they got a whole bunch of salt in them. If you're buying something, then I would suggest that you take and look to see what's the content of the sugar and the salt. And if you have salt in there, then you should also have potassium. Okay. And the potassium should be higher than the sodium. But if it's not, you have potassium in there. If you buy a prepackaged goods and there's no potassium in there, don't buy it. It's like if you gonna buy something that you got words on it you can't pronounce, leave it right there on the shelf, because that means that you ain't supposed to have that. You see, I'm gonna go back to the B12 for a moment. When you take B12, you should take a minimum of 1,200 milligrams of B12 with 200 milligrams of B complex, so that you get that balance, because it's about balance. It's about how you balance
Yeah.
the nutrients within your body.
So out of everything, because again, especially menopausal women, right?
Mhm.
We need iron, we need magnesium, we need zinc, we need the B vitamins. We need all of those things, but it's so difficult for us to figure out the right time of day to take all of that. We don't, I know that all of those vitamins, some of them shouldn't even be taken together. So we said B vitamins in the morning, but and you hadn't even really mentioned the others that I just spoke about, except magnesium, which you said we can get from the vegetables that we eat. But then zinc, people are really deficient in as well. So where does all of that fall? And should we be taking them all, or should we just be taking some? Like, how should we be taking these vitamins so that it's optimal for us and we're not feeling terrible because we have all these vitamins inside of us that we took at one time?
So the first thing I say is this: whenever you're going to take micronutrients, and that's what they're called,
Right.
micronutrients. Whenever you're going to take micronutrients, you need to make sure that you have some food that you've eaten prior to it, because what happens is they go in looking, searching for the food. Okay. And once they attach to the food helps them get in. That's like if you're taking, for instance, vitamin K or vitamin D. Okay. And you should be taking only around 1,000 IUs, international units, okay, of vitamin D. So then if you're going to do that, well, eat an avocado before then, or eat some stir fry before then that you've cooked with oil, because it's a fat soluble, or eat you some nuts, okay, because of the fact that they're fat soluble. Now, what I normally tell people about nuts is that you need to soak the nuts so that you can get the water solubles out of them, but they're soggy and they taste, to me, they taste nasty. But I mean, that's a good fat. Okay, so you need to take fats. I would say, don't take take a multi. Okay, take a nice woman's multi mineral and vitamin. More so, they say vitamins. We need minerals because minerals can make vitamins. Vitamins can't make minerals. And so the piece of that is being able to take those minerals, and take them with food so that they go into the system and they function the way the system's supposed to function. I would say then, if you want to add some herbs through the day. When we start talking about hot flashes, we could talk about Vitex. Okay, I have a product that's called Tien Huan Bushindan. Well, Tien Huan Bushindan, not only does it deal with the hot flashes, but it maintains the balance of the heart. Okay, and it maintains the balance of releasing emotions like depression, okay, anxiety. So you want to be able to do things of that nature so that they function in terms of what it is that you need. Okay. And I would say, you could, just like pharmaceuticals, minerals, vitamins, and herbs all have the ability to become toxic in the body. And again, I would say go to a qualified health professional to assist you in that navigation and to help you to establish your self protocol. When people come to me, I teach them how, whether it's through tongue diagnosis online or whether you come into my office, I teach you how to use micronutrients, herbs, and points on the body in order for you to create the balance that you're looking for in terms of your health. And right now, we need that more than ever because of the fact of what this administration is working to do with our healthcare. We need to understand how to set up our own health protocol. Okay? That's why I do classes. The one I have coming up is on diabetes. Then I have one on weight coming up. Because of the fact that more than ever within within my 75 years of being on this planet, I have never seen our situation being like it is now. Okay. And by the administration, and I'm not political, and I mean, I do my duty of voting, but I ain't, all into the
Yeah.
politics. But by what we're seeing in terms of what this administration is doing, we are in trouble. And we need to be able to deal with the fact of how do we take our health back? Because when you start closing NIH and CDC and places that nature that's telling us what we need to do and how we need to even though some of what they're saying is not natural, okay, but they're doing research. So now we have to begin to do the research, and we have to become our own ability to maintain the balance of our health.
Yeah.
You see, because if we don't, then what happens is that now we become sicker than we are because of the fact of that. And when you don't have places like CDC, okay, and NIH,
right,
to make sure that these pharmaceutical companies are not putting things in there, just throwing stuff in there, because of the fact that they can charge for it now. And then what happens is that there's no cap on how much it's going to cost you to get that pharmaceutical. We need to be able to adjust our life so that we understand what we're eating, how we're eating, when we're eating, what it's doing to the body, how we need to continue to maintain health. We need to get rid of the junk food. Them fast food restaurants, we need to we need to make it so that we don't shop in there. Okay? Because that's death waiting to happen. And now with the fake food, oh my God. When they making food, meat, and that kind of stuff in a laboratory,
yeah,
come on now, and you still going for it. So if you still going for it, and that they making it in the laboratory, you don't care nothing about yourself.
nothing.
You don't care nothing about yourself because of the fact that you still supporting them. Them fast food, we should be able to ride by them fast food joints, and they got a sign on the door said we closed. Okay? And then go to your local farmer, okay, and start to really create a relationship with your farmers. If you got some land, start farming. If you got a back porch, put you some boxes up, some dirt in it, some seeds, take care of that and eat that. Because of the fact that in a minute, that food gonna be so bad that it's gonna really tear the body down. And now I'm not just talking about, you 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. No, I'm talking about that pregnant woman, that baby that just came here, and that baby from 1 to 50. That's who I'm talking about. I'm talking about our future.
Our future, yes.
You have 4 million people with diabetes. You have 4 out of 10 people who are overweight. Come on. We need to change that. We need to be able to eat foods that support us. My question to the people who's watching this is the fact that why are you eating? What is your purpose for eating? If your purpose for eating is just to be eaten, you're in trouble. you're in serious trouble. Okay. If you're if you're eating because of the fact that you're eating for nourishment, that's what you should be doing. You know, that's how you should be doing it. The other piece is the factor that, you know, a lot of people saying, well, I'm gonna eat organic. Okay, cool. But understand this. If you live in a cold climate and you getting organic food from California, okay, or Florida, and I live in Maryland and you're in Michigan, and we getting that food, what's happening is that in order for that food to be able to have a shelf life, it needs to be picked immature. Because if it's organic, that means that it don't have no pesticides, no herbicides, no additives, no preservatives. So that means that the enzymes in it are going to continue to eat as it's traveling. How do you keep it from doing that if it's natural? Well, you can't. So the only way to do that is pick it immature. And if you pick it immature, then instead of it being alkaline, it's acidic. Okay. So now, you know, especially if you want them people who talk about, well, you know, I'm drinking alkaline water and I'm going to alkalize the body, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But the piece of that is the fact that, but if you eat an organic food that's been picked immature, then you're eating acid opposed to alkaline because it hasn't gotten to its alkalinity yet. You see, I mean, and so you want to be able to make sure that it's like that. That's why that organic farmer who's within 100 miles radius of where you at, that's who you should be eating. That's where you should be eating from. You should not be eating from these from these grocery stores that are actually supermarkets that say we are natural and our food comes from across the county, across the country. Those are not the places that you should eat. You know, you should eat as much local food as possible because why? It has the same energy that your body has because it's in the same temperament as your body. If you're from Africa, the Caribbean, okay, or other countries, you may want to start to also eat foods from that country. Because if you grew up eating that, you know, then your body's always looking for it. So that's why a lot of people who have come here from other countries, now they're overweight and obese. Okay? And they're overweight and obese because of the fact that their body's saying, wait a minute, hold up. You grew up on this other kind of stuff, and now you eating this other piece over here. So now the food becomes poison. You know, during my tenure of getting my PhD, there was a book that I had to read that was called Poisoning Our Children. Deep book, you know, and if folks can find it, go find it. Deep book, because it talked about what kinds of foods are poisoning our children, which means that it's poisoning us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why a lot of women are having fertility issues, okay, having hypertension, diabetes, you know, fibromyalgia, fibroids. Oh my God! And see, what women don't understand about fibroids is the fact that fibroids in Chinese medicine is a chi tumor, not a blood mass. A blood mass tumor is like an aneurysm. This is a chi phlegm.
Mucus.
Mucus. That's what that is. And that's because of the fact that mucus has caused her uterus to become cold. Okay. And because of that coldness, now the circulation within her uterus isn't happening like it should. So now what's happening? Now what's happening is that now she's got a lump, a bump, and a tumor. When I treat women for fibroids, we do several different things, and one of them is a heat pack with castor oil, so that the castor oil sinks in there, and the heat helps create the movement that's needed. But also, she has to deal with her elbow. Now, what's the elbow? Right, that elbow bend, the mouth flies open. So now you got to understand and figure out what it is that you're putting in there in order for you to be able to maintain the balance of your health.
Well, let's get back to the castor oil pack for the fibroids. Just because there's so many of us that have them, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the proper way to put the castor oil on the pack and put it on our bellies
Okay,
for relief?
so what I say is get you a nice little pan. Iron, preferably, not aluminum. Okay, stay away from aluminum as much as you can. Stay away from aluminum, because aluminum has a friend called Alzheimer's. Stay away from aluminum.
Oh wow! Wow!
Okay?
Wow!
I talked about mental issues back in 80 because of aluminum. Okay, stay away from aluminum. But get you and this what's it called? This coating that's on some of these pans. No, you don't want that, because that's leaking in there. Get you a get you a Pyrex. Okay, Pyrex is glass.
Right.
And put the fleece wool in there. Okay, and then pour the castor oil on it, and make sure that it's saturated. And then lay down and put it across your belly. And then take a heating pad. And I tell people, even though the heating pad may have a cover on it, take something like a sheet or something thin, and put it there, so that if any leaks out, and if the cloth on the heating pad gets soiled, it may cause you to get shocked. We don't want no shock treatment here. Right. Okay. But put it on there, and time yourself, and just lay there and relax. Okay, that's one of the ways that I have women to use it. The other is that, and I don't know if they still sell hot water bottles, but take a hot water bottle and do the same thing. Okay. The thing about fibroids is the fact that a lot of women are having myomectomies, which is removal of the fibroid. My piece with fibroids is this: who are you allowing to live in your womb? That becomes with the emotions. So those emotions have to do with the fact that that's like anger. Well, what anger does is anger binds. Okay? So you angry with somebody, but you ain't letting them go. But you angry with them. And so because you're angry with them, now you've stopped the movement of chi, which is energy, which now is starting to create coldness, which now is dealing with the factor of how things start to coagulate. And so now you had this fibroid. So now you went to your gynecologist, and your gynecologist, or GYN, she said, oh yeah, we're going to take it out. Okay, so they take out the fibroid. 6 months is back. That's because you didn't let go. You got to let go. Okay, I talked about the lungs. The lungs is about letting go. Okay, let go of that person. That person came into your life to be able to teach you something about yourself. That's why that's why you're in their life, and that's why you're in their life. Okay, is so that you have an understanding of you. But what we do is we always put it on them.
And you're preaching now, Dr. Akmal. Listen, you are preaching Now, I hope y'all out there listening because this is like major gems that he is dropping right now, right at this point, right now. This point, if you have fibroids or any stagnation in your body, you need to listen to this. Let it go. Let
Let
it
it go.
go. Let it go. Let it go.
There was a piece years ago that said, "Let go and let God."
Yeah.
You know, and
Every
we and
day we
and,
say
and
that. Let go, let God. But for real, do it though. For real, for real.
no
Do it.
question. The book that I have coming out at the beginning of spring is called Healing from Other People's Stuff. And I talk about that, you
Mm.
know. I talk about the fact of how many people live inside of you. Who are they? What are their attributes? You know, who's running your day-to-day life? You know, I
Most
mean,
of us is the kids, but okay.
because because when you understand the people that live inside of you and their attributes and who they are and what they do and how they do what they do, you're closer to who you are. See, because this journey we on that we call life is not about anybody else. It's not about your mama, your daddy, your aunt, your uncle, your sister, your brother, your cousin, your children. It's not about any of them. What it's about is it's about you, and it's about how you deal with you. And
Mm.
so if we hold on to emotions, then what happens is the fact that other people are controlling us. You know,
Mm.
if somebody that you left walks in the room, and this is what I say to people when they come and tell me they're depressed and that kind of thing. If the person that you're holding on to walks in the room, what you gonna do? Some people say, well, I might get up and leave. I might go and start an argument, that kind of thing. The piece of that is the fact that anytime you hold on to anybody, they're controlling you. Okay. Anytime you have a negative emotion about somebody because a name came up or because of any of that, they're controlling you. And so if you allow for that to happen, then what happens is that imbalances your organ network. But when you don't, then what happens is that it's like, yo, how you doing? Oh, you fine? Okay, cool. Let's move on. See, because now there's no animosity there, and you're not attacking your liver,
Mm.
or you're not holding on to that piece, and your lungs are saying, I can't breathe. Okay, that kind of thing. So I mean, the piece of that is the fact that we really need to have understand our emotions. This is the other piece that I asked about. Let's say that a person weighs. Let's say that you weigh 150 pounds, and the person that you pissed off with maybe weighs 175. When you add those two weights together, how much is that? That's
Mm.
almost 400 pounds. So that
Mm-hmm.
means that 400 pounds is slowing you down
Bag
because
lady. Erica
because
Badu, bag lady, baby.
no question. You
Slowing
see,
you down.
you see. So the pieces is that let them folks go.
Let him go.
Just let them
Let
go.
him go.
That's one of the things about your cell phone is that you can block them so you don't have to see them.
Let's go. With that, Dr. Akmal, we've been on for over an hour and it's been amazing. We were on together earlier today,
Earlier,
y'all, for an hour and a half. And now we are on over an hour because he could probably give us so much more, but I'm going to hold him for the next couple weeks.
okay.
We will be back in 2 weeks with Dr. Akmal and whatever he decides to talk about because that's what I asked him. What you talking about today? And he talks about it and he goes, as you can see. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. And as always, I will leave Dr. Akmal with the final words to the audience today.
So this is what I would say to you: learn who you are, learn about you, Work and understand the people who live inside of you, because those are the people that create and deal with your emotions and how your emotions do what they do. Okay. And so when you begin to understand you, your journey becomes better because of you
Mm.
and because of the way that you live. And learn how to set up your self care protocol. And in all of my classes, I teach you how to set up your health care protocol. Because outside of everything else, guess what? You're the most powerful person on the planet to yourself. Be well, enjoy your life as you peacefully walk in health. Mudupe.
Deep Dupe, be well.
Be well. Thank you. See you soon.
See you soon.